wrong. So on this International Women's Day, we are taking a look back at women's beauty over the years and how it's changed.
That's right. There's an eye-popping new exhibit on display right now at the White River Valley Museum in Auburn titled Suffer for Beauty, Women's History Revealed Through Undergarments. We've
got Museum Director Patricia Cosgrove here this morning to talk a little bit about the exhibit, and boy, makes the Spanx feel really good.
Tell me about it.
Thinking about what women had to wear back in the day, right?
Exactly, and I like to think about my grandmother who went through all these eras here. So one lady went in, went out, went up, went down, all because of foundation garments. Yes.
Right. It was a necessity back then for women to wear these undergarments, right?
A societal necessity.
Yeah.
Yes. So it changed a lot over time. You could begin in the 1880s and 90s with this kind of silhouette where the corset had an S shape in it and you had a walking stick because it tilted you forward. And you wore a bustle to increase your derriere. Yes. All the way to the 20s where there's a flapper style that's very straight. And this exhibit actually goes from 1890 to 1970. So our visitors get to see some things they might actually remember, at least folks my age.
Sure.
Isn't it interesting what it was perceived as beautiful in each era, right? That's a part of this too, is more than just the clothing.
Oh yes, that's the whole story. We use objects to teach women's history in a fun, kind of painless way, and it really creates a lot of conversation and people have a good time. Yes.
Talk about Camille Clifford. We have a picture of this. So tell us a little bit about Camille Clifford.
Well, she's a beauty, and she was the winner of a competition put on by Mr. Gibson, and he drew her as the quintessential beauty of the era, which became known as the Gibson Girl. And that was an idea of having health, great shape, shining skin, and bouffant hair, and that was her.
The bouffant hair.
Yes.
She is beautiful. Even
she
today,
is.
though. You know,
yes,
that's not just a period thing.
Most of us look at her and kind of cringe, though, because there's a lot going on underneath there.
Well, I'm just thinking, look at her waist. That's not photoshopped.
No, that isn't.
There's something under there that's
and they're looking for the
18-inch
ideal or the 20-inch ideal, which is about what I am across, but that is around.
Imagine?
Okay, well, speaking of that, go to the next slide, Chris, if we can. And okay, no, so this is a corset from the 1800s.
Is this
is a much later corset, actually worn into the 1960s, but it shows you a lot of the same parts. And so it's laced to fit you, and then you clip it together in the front. And this one went from here to here. Camille Clifford's went like this more. And this one is designed to hold your hose. But here's a fun fact. You remember the phrase being straight-laced?
Is that what that
means? That you are laced in tight and you are morally defined by your hard-skinned corset.
When did women stop using these regularly?
We still use them. She mentioned Spanx.
It's just a different form.
Yes.
Wait a minute, you do?
Yes, but you know what a loose woman is?
A loose woman?
She's not tightly laced. So she's
that's
loose
where that term
and available was the idea.
Interesting. And then Lena Horne. Talk about Lena Horne for a minute.
A beauty of the 50s and 60s, and she would have been wearing something more like this bra. It's a very
Madonna bra.
You might think of it as that, yes. And she wore them on the outside, yes. So it's this conical sewing. And when I put this on the dress form in the exhibit, I had to keep stuffing and stuffing and stuffing. It was amazingly pointy and actually kind of embarrassed me while I was doing that. Yeah, but contrast that to the bra from the 20s. So here's a flapper, and this is actually wiring to flatten you.
Yep.
So it's very unstructured,
shape, right?
Other than making you a little more boyish.
Why is it important for people to come visit this exhibit, men and women?
Well, it's fun. It's very beautiful. And it really encourages people to chat about their life experiences and how society makes us behave in these ways and expects things of us.
Yeah, fantastic. So this is the exhibit at the White River Valley Museum in Auburn. It's titled Suffer for Beauty, Women's History Revealed Through Undergarments. Thank you, Museum Director Patricia Cosgrove.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you, Patricia. Appreciate it.